Okay, so what you do with everybody retirement money? Shit, I don't know. You just don't remember what you did with billions of dollars? Okay, where did tax money go? I'm not really sure. Okay, so where did this $400 billion payment come from? Let me see. Oh my God. Yeah, I think we was just that weekend. Bro, what the y'all doing with all the money?
You know, the little red guy nails it, man. Where's the tax money? What'd you do with all of our retirement money? Where'd all this cash come from here in your office? We know what they did. They misappropriated it, and that ruling political class out of Washington, D.C. only grows richer while you and I, the ones who have voted them into office, the ones that they're supposed to be working for, we're the ones dealing with the problem. And you guys know what problem it's fired me up today. It's the fact that we have been downgraded. The U.S. rating has gone from AAA down to AA, and it's a really big deal. The last time this happened, it was back in 2011, and in the next 2 weeks, the market fell significantly, around 16% then. Now we obviously are pulling back, and you guys know I've got a number of trades that have been winning trades, and from one day to the next, you wake up and everything's changed. I luckily entered into some puts on my Apple trade yesterday. I mentioned it to you guys, 190 and 180 puts out in August and September, and so that helped me quite a bit. I've had to readjust a lot of my trades this morning and my perspective as to where these markets are going. If you recall, in my weekend video and in my Monday video, I came out and said, I got a sinking feeling that we're going to be going into the end of this week and things are not going to be good, and we're possibly going to be entering into correction territory by the end of this week and going into next week. And lo and behold, I had no idea that we were going to get downgraded, but I did think and I did see in the charts that there was some shifting going on. So I've got, I think, a really good video today. I'm going to just briefly talk about this situation with Fitch. I'm going to touch on some big trades, but I'm then going to get into crypto because I've been promising you guys a crypto video. It's going to have to be a two-part video because I really want to give you guys an update of my top 10 cryptos. I want to give you guys some perspective of what I think is happening with Bitcoin, and I want to share with you guys how I think that's going to affect the miners. Now, I don't got that proverbial crystal ball. I don't have the insight that they do over in Washington, D.C., I have some questions on some of these. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about some of these trades like Mara and some of these cryptos like Solana. And so in some cases, I'm not going to be coming with answers. I'm going to be coming with questions. But I think it's important that we ask those questions and keep an eye on the charts. And I'm going to share with you guys what the charts do tell me, even though they don't tell me the full picture. I can't see clearly what's next, but I'll tell you what questions I'm getting out of looking at the charts. Guys, this is the Stocks with Josh show. Thank you so much for always hitting the like. You know, I said it in one of my recent videos, you know, get 30,000, 40,000 views, 50,000 views, but just only less than 10% of the likes. So just take a brief moment, pause what you're doing, get ready to enjoy this show. It's a good show, packed full of information. Take a minute, hit that like for me. If you're new to the page and you need to get a handle on these markets, on what to expect, man, I make predictions. I call out stocks that are going down, and I talk about stocks that are moving higher. So hit the subscribe button to get that next video. So I just want to go over a couple things here with this Fisk downgrade. I want to give you guys the quote that they gave the rest of America as to why they did it, because I think all of us need to just pause and really let this sink in, what Fitch said. Because you know what? These guys aren't a government body that's above the U.S., but they do rate our success. You guys, a rating has just come in. A score of success has just come in. I don't know how all of you guys did in academia, but you know, I don't know how you felt when you got an A. I don't know how you felt when you got an F, but we've just been graded. We've been given a commentary by the teacher as to why we got the grade we got. Let me read to you what they said. They said the reason they dropped our credit rating was because of steady deterioration in the standards of governance over the last 20 years regarding fiscal and debt matters. So it is a clear strike against the officials that have been governing, and they're not saying this happened in the last year. I know I'm not going to get political, right? We've had presidents that nobody liked. You know, one president over here, nobody likes, half of America doesn't like him. Another president over here, half of America doesn't like him. We can all have opinions how everybody's doing. If you're a believer or a man of faith, which you guys know that I am, the Bible tells me that I'm supposed to pray for the success of my president because he rules over me and it will go well with me if he succeeds. And so whoever is in the White House, I want them to succeed. But we did just get a rating, and this rating says that they're not succeeding. And it wasn't the guy that's in there right now. It's been all of them over the last 20 years. Their fiscal policies and running up the debt, just like the little red man in the intro video said, where the money? Where is the money? Where did you do with it? Because you guys are looking like you're doing pretty good. You know, these congressmen and these senators have upwards to $200 million in their personal bank accounts. Even though they run a job that only makes hundreds of thousands, somehow they all become millionaires. So the little red man, the little commentary at the beginning has got it right on. We're the ones that are relying on them to store up our retirement money and to use our tax dollars efficiently. But all that has happened is they become wealthy and we become poor and we become downgraded. It's like a bad relationship. So you guys can sense that some of my best trades and some of my hard work has been damaged this morning, and I'm a little bit angry about it. I can imagine some of you guys might be as well, and it's because of those that we've left in charge. But I'm going to pause from that fire that I'm feeling. The fact is, what I love about Wall Street is that there's always an opportunity. This has presented an opportunity, but you have to move quick. You have to shift. You have to make tough decisions, and you then can take advantage of which direction the wind is blowing. You got to turn your sail around and start heading in the new direction. So what is that direction? Well, in some cases, the bottom line is that volatility has spiked. I had been thinking about getting into VIX at the beginning of this week, and I was kicking myself last night for not doing it, but it's still a good play because this should give us a couple weeks of strong volatility. And I don't believe that it's necessarily going to lead to everything going down, but there's going to be extreme volatility. I'm going to touch on the trades. I'm going to touch on that crypto. I'm going to touch on the miners. So let's just get started a little bit here with Apple, okay? All right, Apple, I'm going to give you guys the trade range as I see it right now. I still think that $202 is a possibility, but there's a huge doubt to it, right? We can easily move back to support right now. We could be in correction mode right now, and I still think that support would bring us down to $183 in that range. We could go a little bit higher, but right around $183. So I just want you to have the Apple trade range. We've got earnings here tomorrow, end of day, and that could absolutely cause the stock to skyrocket. If you go back in the charts on Apple, one of the things that you're going to see is that when the market was falling in 2022, they were vacillating and getting near to making an all-time high again. Go back and look at the charts. I'm not going to pull it up this time, but the Apple stock vacillated in the middle of a very troubling year. It did not just drop. It took much later in the year before it dropped. And so don't count Apple, don't count them out. You know, don't count them out because it's not over. 202 is still a possibility, but I have protection to the downside. I think we could easily go down to 183. We got to watch it very carefully. Then Tesla. Tesla's like my problem child. It's like the redheaded stepchild of my stocks right now. Obviously that 260 broke, which I gave you guys that because it has proven to be a definitive line in the sand. So we broke down below 260, which means that technically we should move down to 245. We've been vacillating around 252. There's no guarantee. We don't have to go and hit the bottom of the range. We could make a higher low, but 245 is where, if we did fall, that I would expect us to stop falling and to get a bounce. Hopefully you guys can all understand what that means. It doesn't mean that if we come back and touch 245, you immediately buy. When I give you a target price, it means watch that price and see if the stock respects it, okay? But if we reverse and we begin to climb back up, I'm going to give you guys this trade range that I think we're currently in. We are between 245 and 276 right now on Tesla. That's where I expect this thing to potentially move. If we get a reason to turn around and move up, we're going to probably go back and test 276. I'm bringing it down. I had previously given you guys 290, but right now the trade range has dropped, and so now we're between 245 and 276. Okay, and then we've got Amazon, which is again, they're going to report the same time that Apple's reporting, after market close on Thursday. And I think that all the charts are showing me is not a breakdown, but it's showing me that we're moving into extreme volatility. And so I'm just going to tell you that to me, the perfect play for all three of these is an options straddle, which would enable you to take advantage whichever direction these go, up or down. It would enable you to profit off of the volatility, and I think all three are going to have high volatility. But the trade range for Amazon is going to be on the low end 123, and it absolutely could come up and hit 140. So we'll be watching that as well. Trade range for Amazon 123 to 140. Okay, let's get into the crypto heat map. If we look at the crypto heat map, guys, obviously it's all bad. It's all red. Bitcoin is, and all the cryptos are not doing well. Everything is red this morning. So, you know, I'm still fired up. I got to calm down. Where is Bitcoin heading? Well, Bitcoin, believe it or not, is at this moment in a completely predictable spot to where it has been in every other cycle before this. So where it's sitting right now, hovering right above the Gaussian channel, the weekly channel, that would be that $28,400 price. It can continue to move sideways, bouncing off the top of that $28,400 price range very easily, and that would be perfectly in line with phase one of the Bitcoin bull run. So nothing has broken down. A breakdown would be for it to dip beneath 28,000. That would be a breakdown if we were to dip beneath 28,000. But then again, if it quickly recovered back above 28.5, it would all be good. So right now we're at the bottom of the range and we're moving sideways. That's the main point I want you guys to consider. I actually think this particular bull run favors following the example of the 2015 bull run, where we came up out of the winter, we hit a line of resistance. In this case, it's been 31,000. Now, I've been saying that we could go as high as 33 or 34, but we've had a little bit of this black swan event with the credit rating drop and the fact that the risk assets are going to be selling off. And you know, the thing that's going to happen is that people are going to move out of stocks. They're going to move into bonds. We're going to see the markets and Bitcoin be under selling pressure. But if your most favorable assets, this presents a buying opportunity. And so we're going to be watching, because the most favorable assets are really going to move sideways. They're not going to fall. You're going to see assets that people perceive less value in. They're just going to capitulate and crumble. Some of that's happening right now. But favorable assets that people want to get into, they're going to choose to get into them on this bearish moment, and you're going to see them largely move sideways. Right now, what I'm expecting with Bitcoin is for it to move sideways, but here's the bad news. Okay, and I'm going to give you the bad news in just a moment. Let me just quickly do a station break for the moomoo investment app. We still have a lot of people joining the conversation, the chat group that I host over on the moomoo investment app from Canada, because the moomoo investment app has opened up to the Canadian audience. So if you're over in Canada, you can now get onto the app. You can register. However, you cannot deposit and you cannot trade yet. And that may open up before I'm aware of it. If you guys find out that you can deposit, let me know. But as I understand it, there's going to be like a period of time, a couple weeks or the end of this month, while you're just able to register, and then you'll be able to deposit money, and then you'll be able to trade, and then you'll be able to take advantage of getting free stock over in Canada. And this is only good for the US, now Canada for registration, and Australia, and each country has its own offer. The offer right now for the US, if you do not have a moomoo account, is they'll give you up to 16 free stock and a $50 cash bonus. All of the stock that you can potentially get is like a stock lottery. They could each one be valued between $3 and $2,000. So you'll spin the dial and you'll see what you get. Possibly you get a big winner. The way to figure it all out is I'm going to leave a link in the top pinned comment of the video, as well as the description of the video. You can go click on that and you can get all of the details for yourself. Get your free stock, start investing today. Come find us in the chat group. Welcome aboard to all the Canadians. All right, I want to briefly talk to you guys about how the sideways movement of Bitcoin is going to affect the altcoins as well as the miners, because you know what, there's a ton of money to be made in the miners if you get in at the right time. Right now, they're slowly bleeding off, and the support range that I've given you guys recently on Mara has been accurate within 10 cents. Now, I have a feeling, here's what I'm going to tell you guys. If Bitcoin moves sideways, Mara will move down. That's how it's going to work. So the only way that Mara is going to move up is if there's a confirmation that Bitcoin is moving up. And so the longer it takes for Bitcoin to move sideways, Mara can continue to come down. Now, I'm going to give you guys the worst case scenario that is 100% possible based on looking at the past cycles. Bitcoin right now could move sideways for the next 2.5 to 3 months. And again, if it moves sideways, the miners will come down. They won't necessarily move sideways. They'll come down. And now, I'm going to get into them more specifically. I'm going to recap in an extension video to this one. So I'm going to finish this one up, and I'm going to do another video that talks about my top 10 cryptos. I'm also, for the very first time, going to release my second top 10. Those are some of the small cap cryptos that I'm in, and I'm going to notify you guys of cryptos that I've either sold or I've stopped purchasing that I have talked with you guys about in the past. So that video is going to be super important, and I'm also going to give you guys technicals on all of the miners in that. But I wanted to leave you guys with this important information, also regarding the altcoins. Now, what will happen to the altcoins if Bitcoin moves sideways? Well, when you look at the past cycle, and it's not the case for all of the altcoins, because you don't know which altcoin is going to succeed. That's one of the big questions that we have to ask ourselves every time we go through the winter cycle of crypto is the altcoin that we like, that we believe in, is it going to be a winner, and is it going to emerge as a relevant coin in the next bull cycle? And we can't answer that for each one, because in this winter, we've already seen some coins die. Popular projects we've seen completely unwind, collapse, and go to zero. We've absolutely seen that with a ton of crypto. But it's a good guess that if they're in the top 10, they have a stronger likelihood of continuing. That's why a number of my favorite picks that I accumulate in the winter are in the top 10. But what has happened in the past, I'm going to use ADA as an example. When you compare ADA and Bitcoin, so when Bitcoin pulls up out of the winter and it begins to move sideways before we get to the halving event, which would then lead to the markup phase, that's in March of 2024 approximately. What happens to a crypto like ADA? Well, in that time frame, ADA in 2015 cycle, it actually ran up near 300% from its low. So it came all the way down to a 90% sell-off, and then it went up 300%. In this particular cycle, we've only seen ADA go up less than 100%. So there is the potential that during this period of time that ADA could go 300% up, right? Which would have looked like it hitting around 75 to around 85 cents. So that potential exists, but there's no, stocks and cryptos, the history does not repeat itself, but it does rhyme. But I'm less concerned with telling you where ADA is going to go in the next 3 months as much as I'm going to tell you guys why we consistently call this an accumulation phase. Because once ADA came down, right, and Bitcoin also hit its low, ADA never dropped beneath that price in all of the following months until we got to the next bull run up. And so that's the main thing that I want you guys to see, is that we have the potential of vacillating. Right now, we've seen ADA vacillate between around 25 cents and around 45 cents. And that may be the range. But I think that what the main point I'm telling you guys is that unlike the miners, the cryptos will probably toe a line during the accumulation phase, and they will likely not break down further than the price low that we've already booked for them. So that's something important I wanted you guys to understand. The miners have the potential that the longer the winter runs, the longer that Bitcoin is not running up, they tend to bleed and bleed and bleed by my past experience with them. So you need to be aware of that. So that's about it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then give me a like. Hit the subscribe to make sure you get the follow-up video. I'm going to be giving a recap, some fresh technicals on all the miners, and I'm going over those altcoins. And I will tell you guys that some of the supports and resistance I've changed for the miners. So it's important that you guys, I'm going to cover as many of them as I can, but it's important that you take notice of it, screenshot it, Those are going to be the new supports and resistance that I see moving forward. That's all I've got for you guys. Tonight, I'm going to be doing a live on Larry Jones's page. Stock Up with Larry Jones, and we're doing a live with the Core 4. Hope all of you guys will take the time to join us. I believe that it's going to be 7 o'clock Eastern time. It's going to be 4 o'clock West Coast time. It's going to be a great show, and I always bring something totally different to the live, and I'm sure it's going to be the case again today. We're going to get into, it's going to be great banter, great conversation, money-making opportunity, so please don't forget to join me there. As always, I hope you guys each and every one of you have a blessed day, that you are able to pull some wins out of Wall Street because you deserve it. It's your money. The government, you gave them your money. You saw what they did with it. They got you downgraded. They don't got you in the right position. So you need to take your own money, you need to prepare for your own future and make sure that you're the one in control of it, because you know what, you can't rely on anybody else other than yourself to be responsible and to be the steward of your wealth. You guys, that's what this is about. So we're going to kick down the Wall Street door. We're going to get our hands on it. We're going to make sure that we protect it. That's all I got for you today. Love all of you. Peace and blessings. Talk to you soon.